What do you want?
Nothing in particular.
Well, why don't you push off and mind your own business? There's work to be done.
Yes, I can see that.
Listen, don't you get smart with me, Doc.
Is that for the laundry basket?
What do you think?
Do you know the address to send it to?
Look, I've heard Sandy talk about Fitzwater, and I've been around long enough to know what he's all about. I'm not stupid. Do you think he'd be happy to do business with someone like me?
Yes. What are you asking for?
I just want to get the trade moving again. With a little extra twist.
A twist?
Yeah. Hey, listen. You being a doctor and everything, how would you feel about the women being able to buy a little extra happiness every now and then?
You mean drugs?
Well, I don't mean lollies.
Could be useful. Useful. Oh, we doctors prescribe drugs all the time. People need tranquilizers just to keep their sanity these days. My God, this place is enough to drive anyone insane.
Yeah. So you wouldn't mind a bit of extra medicine coming in every now and then?
Not at all. Could be very useful in the right hands. By the way, Fitzwater prefers to be called Jack.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Oh, this place is still filthy.
I think we've done remarkably well to get the place cleaned up so quickly.
Well, I still think they got off very easily.
I'll face charges.
Charges, is that all?
Yeah, we gave floggings up for Lent, remember?
Very funny.
Oh, Janet, we're not the judges and juries. We just make sure they stay in here. If they get too far out of line, we let the law decide what happens to them.
Well, we could send them to solitary and revoke their privileges.
Minor inconveniences for minor infringements.
Your attitude surprises me.
Why?
Well, after what happened to me.
Janet, some of these women are in here for taking their own revenge. We're supposed to be a bit different, I hope.
I suppose so. It's still hard, though.
Of course it is. None of us like it, you know.
No.
Hello? The governorship of Beachmont Youth Remand Centre's coming up for grabs. Applications from suitably qualified senior prison officers are now invited.
Well, surely you're not thinking of applying.
Well, no. I thought I might.
Well, how could you just leave our relationship and go off to the bush like that?
Well, I probably wouldn't get it anyway.
Why not?
Well, the applications have to go through Douglas. I'm not exactly his favourite person, you know.
Well, one thing in our favour is the nature of the police evidence.
Is that crook?
No, Mrs. Birdsworth, it's largely circumstantial.
Is that just because I happen to be there and all that sort of thing?
Yes, partly.
Crikey, there doesn't seem much to convict a person on.
There is a substantial amount of circumstantial evidence. And taken as a whole, it's nonetheless very incriminating.
That's because of the strain I was under. That bloody Gordon breathing down me neck and frightening the daylights out of me. If it hadn't been for him, I'd have been all right.
Now, try to remember that it is not Gordon Humphrey who's on trial.
Bloody ought to be.
Yes, that may be. But it isn't. Now, if you want me to get you acquitted, you'll have to control any outbursts in the courtroom.
Don't you worry, Mr. Oliver. I've been through it lots of times.
Yes, well, I have a trick or two up my sleeve. So if you behave yourself, we may just win this one yet. Off we go, then. Thank you.
Is your name Elizabeth Josephine Birdsworth?
Yes, Your Worship, that's right.
I represent the defendant, Your Worship.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver. Elizabeth Josephine Birdsworth, you are charged under Section 197 of the Crimes Act that at Flemington on the 21st day of October 1981, you intentionally and without lawful excuse did destroy property belonging to another, to wit a dwelling house situated at 8 Blackwood Drive, by setting fire to such dwelling and did thereby commit arson. Do you understand the charge?
Not exactly, but I think I know what you're getting at.
In simple terms, Mrs. Birdsworth, you are charged with burning someone else's house.
Oh, no, that's not right, Your Worship.
Your Worship, my client understands the nature of the charge and will plead not guilty.
The court will record a plea of not guilty. Is that correct, Mrs. Birdsworth?
Yeah. Your Worship, not guilty.
Thank you. You may sit down.
Call Senior Detective Russell.
This load's ready to go.
I'll keep an eye on that gate.
Damn security measures.
I wouldn't let him worry me if I was you.
Can't help it. All privilege is suspended. I'm trying to arrange a visit from my solicitor.
What do you want to see one of them sharks for?
It's arranging an appeal for me.
Yeah? Oh, well, if you can't get out one way, I suppose you're welcome to try another. Oh, I doubt if you'll get a visit with this flap on.
I might if I could see Powell.
Why should she help you?
I think she's taken a fancy to my solicitor.
You're kidding. Does he fancy her?
I think I'd employ anyone with that little taste.
No, I suppose not. Oh, well, good luck to you. Just watch it. And make sure this little lot gets out safely.
Don't worry, I will. I just hope there's no trouble about the leadership change, that's all, when Sandy gets out.
It's the women who decide who's top dog, and they voted her out. There better not be any trouble.
I don't think there will be, but I'll talk to her.
Yeah, you do that.
Miss Conway! Clean laundry's ready for the delivery van. Is Mrs. Powell on duty?
What business is that of yours?
It's a personal matter.
Mrs. Powell is giving evidence in court, and I'm quite sure she's got no personal interest in you, so get moving, Peterson.
And when she reached the gate, I saw her drop a bottle of kerosene in the garbage bin. Then she stood looking back at the house for a few seconds.
How long after that did you see the fire?
A couple of minutes.
And do you think the fire was already burning when the defendant was looking at the house?
Objection. He's leading the witness.
Yes, definitely.
Objection sustained.
No further questions, Your Worship.
Just one moment, Mrs. Powell, please. If you don't mind. Thank you. The kerosene bottle you saw the defendant place in her rubbish bin, what identifying marks did it have?
I don't understand.
How were you able to identify it from other kerosene bottles of a similar make and size?
Answer the question, please.
Well, I don't suppose I could if they were the same make and size.
Were you able to see the brand of the bottle as she put it in her bin?
I was there when the police took it out.
And that's when you realized it was a kerosene bottle?
Yes.
In other words, you saw the defendant place a bottle in her rubbish bin, and when the police took it out, you realized it was a kerosene bottle.
I suspected much earlier.
You are on oath, Mrs. Powell. We are not interested in your suspicions or other guesses. You know the defendant, don't you?
Yes.
And you were most upset by the fire next door.
Well, of course I was. It could have spread to my place.
Pity it didn't.
Silence, Mrs. Birdsworth.
See what I mean? Totally irresponsible. How would you like a senile ex-convict living next door to you?
Mrs. Powell, you will not make any further statements regarding the defendant's alleged past character. You may proceed.
Thank you. You didn't like Mrs. Birdsworth living next door to you, did you, Mrs. Powell?
No, I didn't.
But surely you don't dislike her enough to perjure yourself in court? Do you still swear that the bottle you saw was a kerosene bottle?
No, but it's a reasonable assumption.
Naturally, I can understand your concern, Ted, but I'm quite certain we can come to some agreement.
Yes, the department has passed on its instructions, and they will go ahead. That's the first thing we can agree on.
Yes, but I do feel the department should listen to our side of the situation.
All right, then.
I can accept maintaining high security around the prison, even armed guards. But I do feel we should move to relax the internal security.
Oh, Erica, it was made quite clear during the riot that it's not the perimeter that needs watching.
But I'm
the riot was contained from within the prison, because that's where you lost control of the prisoners.
We can achieve far more by dropping this military-style discipline.
No, the minister has made his decision, a very firm one. And it will be carried out to the letter. This is an election year, Erica.